Hey guys, it's Brittany. So I'm going to go over quickly what a repertory is. So a repertory is a tool that homeopaths use to select remedies, essentially. So if you think about it, we have all of these different remedies. They have many, many different symptoms. Like I think sulfur has like thousands of symptoms in its proving. And so when a patient comes before us and says, oh, I'm tired, we need some way of essentially being like, okay, what are all of the remedies that have fatigue as a symptom? A repertory gives us that. All right, so I'm going to show you on the computer the way a couple of repertories work as a computer software. The books, I find it easier to conceptualize how a repertory works by looking at a book. It's just when it comes to filming, it's harder for me to film a book to show you, but I will try and show you on the computer how it works. Repertories the first one was created by Bunninghausen. Hahnemann had tried to create a repertory, but it wasn't very good. He didn't really like it. Bunninghausen, his student, came up with the first book that had repertory in the title, and his repertory, the first one he made, was the one that was translated into English and has formed basically all of the repertories that have ever come after, are all based on that first repertory he did. He did do a second one, the Therapeutic Pocketbook, which has been translated into English a couple of times, most recently by George Demetriadis and his team in Australia, called the TBR, now in its second edition, so TBR2. It is what I use. I find it a little bit easier and more accurate than all the other repertories. And if you want a good history, a very good detailed history of all the different repertories that have existed and how they came about, his book, Homeopathic Diagnosis, or any of his online classes, he goes into the history of repertories and how they were all formed. So if you're interested, that's where you can find that information. So let me show you on the computer. So here is this is the software I got in 2016, which is why it says Complete 2016 Repertory. So essentially it's broken up into all kinds of different chapters. So we've got mind, vertigo, head, eyes, vision, ears, etc. So let's say someone comes in with pain in the bladder. So you'd go to the bladder section. We'd go to pain, 411 remedies. So essentially, we're saying 411 remedies have had pain in the bladder. Whether or not that's an accurate count is a totally different other story. But this is how you find the remedies that have pain in the bladder. Okay. Now these go into subsections. So let's say pain in the bladder in the morning, 25 remedies. Okay. You can see the remedies. I can do it by pressing space on mine, and these are all the different remedies that have pain in the bladder in the morning. On a book, you obviously just see this. You don't have to hide it and show it the way I do on a computer, which is why I think it's a lot easier to conceptualize this stuff in a book. But anyway, okay, so that is what's called a rubric, pain in the bladder in the morning. So let's try another one. Let's try anxiety. So you go to mind, you go to anxiety, and anarchist, my goodness. This is why I don't like this repertory. Anarchist. What kind of, when would I use the rubric anarchist? I have no idea. Oh goodness. Oh, this makes me giggle. Okay, so anxiety, 916 remedies have anxiety. So it's not a very useful rubric, right? Because you still have 916 remedies to sort through. And so you want to get as specific as possible with these big rubrics, right? So, okay, so this has got alternating, time of day, all kinds of different sub-rubrics. That's what these are called as you go down, sub-rubrics. So these are sub-rubrics of anxiety, right? But so that is basically how repertories work. You have these sub-chapters. You have one large chapter, mind, for example, a rubric, anxiety, then you have sub-rubrics to further specify the type of anxiety. The TBR2 or any of the therapeutic pocketbook repertories are very similar. I can show you quickly. They just are a little bit smaller. So I'm going to go to my TBR2 here in my computer software. So this is the location section. You will see external head in general. 93 remedies have something with the external head. All right. Internal head, 124 remedies have something on the internal head. And then you can see these sub-rubrics. So vision, blindness, or loss of sight, sub-rubric, momentary, as in fainting or a migraine. These are the sub-rubrics. And you can see the number of remedies in these are much smaller. It's only got 120 something remedies in this repertory. It's got a much smaller number of remedies, but I kind of like that because I don't have to get necessarily as specific. Like I'll show you the anxiety. Mind, anxiety, 69 remedies in total. That's it. And I don't have to specify the way I do in the other repertory, right? Because 69 remedies, that's enough. I can qualify that with a couple other symptoms the patient comes in with, and I can come up with a good remedy pretty quickly. Having to specify so that I wade through 900 remedies is fool's errand as far as I'm concerned. All right. Okay, so I hope that gave you a basic understanding. I know when you're starting out it can feel very foreign, but essentially just think of it as a way to filter out which remedies you want to look at to look in the materia medica later. The point is never to come up with one remedy just based on your repertory results. You always want to be looking to the materia medica after, because the repertory represents the materia medica, but not always well. Not always accurately, so you always want to check with the materia medica. People who are very advanced, who have been doing this for a really long time and remember remedies really well, don't necessarily always look back in the materia medica after every patient. It's more that they remember the remedy really well, and so the repertory acts like a way to jog your memory. I hope you didn't just hear my stomach growl. It's lunchtime and I'm really hungry. Anyway, so I'm gonna go eat. All right, until next time.